Good morning.
On behalf of the Ethel Rosenberg Centennial Project, welcome to this very historic occasion. And the man of the day is Councilman, someday Congressman, Councilman Daniel Drum, who represents the most diverse borough in the city, Queens, Jackson Heights specifically. Proclamation.
Well, thank you very much, Tibby. We've also been joined by esteemed former colleague in the City Council, now the Borough President of Manhattan, Gail Brewer. Let's give her a big round of applause. And if anybody were going to be here, I know Gail Brewer would be here for this very special occasion today. But we're here today to present this official proclamation of the City Council of New York, signed by 13 members of the City Council, to call into question the execution of Ethel Rosenberg. And I am very proud to have led this effort, and I'm going to tell you, you know, when Ethel was convicted, it was a time of Jew baiting, it was a time of McCarthyism, a time of anti-communist hysteria, and it's time now that we begin to right the wrong of what happened to Ethel Rosenberg. And that's why presenting this proclamation is so important. Over the weekend, I heard Pope Francis say that power comes quickly, but it also goes quickly, and that you should use power for the right thing to do. So if I may, take those words and apply them to myself today. That's why I chose to do this, because I believe it's an opportunity to be able to begin to right a wrong. And when you think about it, the execution of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg left 2 children orphaned, left no opportunity for those people to fix the situation. The Pope himself has also spoken out against the use of death penalty, something that I have for my life been opposed to, because it does not give you an opportunity, again, to correct a wrong. And for all of these reasons, we gather here today. I want to thank Tibby for bringing this issue to my attention, but of course I knew a lot about it. I met with the Mirapoles. Also, I want to thank you, Robert, and family, and everybody else who was over here. Yep, and everybody. Charles Bayer, where is Charles over here? Thank you for also using your connections to make sure that this got done today as well. And I actually do want to read this. Sometimes I say, I don't read a proclamation, but it's so very important that we read to what other council members signed on to as well. So I'm going to read it, but I do have to put the glasses on. Ethel Rosenberg, also known as Ethel Greenglass, lived in New York City's Lower East Side in the 1920s and 30s, where she excelled as a Seward Park High School student and dreamed of college. She graduated before her 16th birthday, but unable to afford college, she took a clerical training course. In 1935, at the age of 19, she worked as a clerk at the National New York Packing and Shipping Company and helped lead a strike for union recognition and a pay raise. The New York Times reported that about 150 young women pickets moved in squads. They lay on the pavement in front of the trucks and dared the drivers to move. And whereas Ethel was fired and filed a claim for wrongful termination with the National Labor Relations Board, which found in her favor, there is no allegation or evidence that she was not an efficient employee. The company's antagonism to Ethel undoubtedly arose by virtue of the fact that she was active in organizing the union. Ethel remained active in union organizing and sang to raise funds. While performing, she met Julius Rosenberg, whom she later married. And whereas during World War II, Ethel joined the East Side Defense Council as its only full-time volunteer, it was the first such organization in the nation and became a model for others. She organized blood donation drives and gave speeches on the importance of the war effort. Her first son, Michael, was born during the war, and her second son, Robert, was born after it ended. And whereas in August 1950, Ethel was charged with conspiracy to commit espionage, FBI documents reveal that Chief Prosecution Witness David and Ruth Greenglass provided no evidence against Ethel Rosenberg in their initial confessions. The Greenglass's recent release of grand jury testimony also excludes mention of Ethel's involvement. FBI documents show that members of the prosecution team determined that she should be convicted with a stiff sentence, quote unquote, and be used as a lever, quote unquote, to induce her husband to cooperate. After devising this strategy, Ruth and David Greenglass provided oral testimony against Ethel. The judge relied upon this new testimony to sentence Ethel to death. In 2001, David Greenglass admitted the testimony was false. And whereas NSA files indicate that the Soviet Union never gave Ethel a code name and that she therefore was not an active espionage agent, and that before the Rosenberg's executions, an FBI document listed questions to ask Julius Rosenberg if he cooperated. The FBI did not create such a list for Ethel and did not ask if she was involved. Instead, a question on the list was your wife cognizant of your activities? Since, despite this, the government wrongfully executed Ethel Rosenberg, now therefore be it known that we, the undersigned members of the Council of the City of New York, honor the life and memory of Ethel Rosenberg in observance of the 100th anniversary of her birth, signed by me, Councilmember Daniel Drum, Helen Rosenthal, Corey Johnson, Mark D. Levine, Richie Torres, Rosie Mendez, Carlos Menchaca, Donovan Richards, Daniel Garodnik, Margaret Chin, Edonis Rodriguez, Vanessa Gibson, and Andrew Cohen. Thank you very much. We'll hear from our borough president, Gail Brewer.
Thank you, Councilmember Drum, and welcome to 3 generations of family and everybody else who's here. I have the same wonderful proclamation, so I'm not going to read it because the council member read it so articulately. But I just want to say, when you read about Ethel Rosenberg's early life on the Lower East Side, her story sounds like many others who are inspired and passionate New York women whose activism at a young age shaped the city's labor movement. Bessie Abramowitz-Hillman, or Clara Lemlich-Shevison, or Pauline Newman, all women whom we honor over and over again. The difference, of course, is that Ethel Rosenberg's life was tragically stolen from her by the U.S. government when she was only 38 and the mother of 2 young boys. As we know from indisputable evidence uncovered by her children and grandchildren, she was not a Soviet spy. Today we celebrate her 100th birthday. It is time to acknowledge that what we all know, this innocent woman was unjustly executed during a shameful period of anti-communism hysteria in our country. Now we have anti-Planned Parenthood in our country. It's a terrible strain on our history, but it can be mitigated if we do today what we should have done decades ago: acknowledge the wrongful execution and bring justice to her good name and to her family. For many years, Ethel's family has been committed heart and soul to righting the wrong that is both personal and political. I cannot commend them enough for their conviction and strength in time of darkness, and I read all of the newsletters that they send me. During the past decades, especially, the United States has done the right thing and acknowledged culpability in events large and small. We cannot delay any longer doing so with the family of Ethel Rosenberg for the sake of justice. Thank you very much, and congratulations.